Hey everyone, Cell here. Trying to upload a little more consistently this league, and in pursuit of that, I have a build diary type video here. This time for a Volatile Dead of Seething slash Detonate Dead of Chain Reaction Trickster. It's based on Jungrone's Volatile Dead character that he then started using Detonate Dead of Chain Reaction, I think it's called. I don't remember if I just said that, but Uh, the consensus is that Detonate Dead of Chain Reaction is good for clearing, and Volatile Dead of Seething is better for single target. It is a single target leaning build, so the Detonate Dead is more of a tech slash swap than anything else, but for the most part, it's been pretty good. The leveling process, I started using Volatile Dead of Seething pretty early on. I probably should have used Detonate Dead of Chain Reaction instead, just for better coverage, but I wasn't, one-shotting stuff with just the corpse explosion early on. So I was using things like a replica prism weave to bolster the ball damage after they chase down enemies. And I'm entering maps now, have done the full cast and crit swap rather, and my crit chance is a little low. I guess that's my only main concern slash complaint right now. And I have most of the crit notes picked up, so I'm wondering what I can do to make that more consistent, because without a crit strikes gem, I'm sitting at 30 something percent. That is without a diamond flask, and that is the in-game tooltip, so that doesn't account for brittle. So I guess realistically, it's probably closer to double that. And then if you throw in a diamond flask, that'll bolster it quite a bit as well. And you can use a diamond flask with, I don't remember what the mod is called, but gain flash charges on critical strike, which obviously synergizes greatly with the build because you're critting with like 3 different skill setups. So you should be hitting the cooldown on that relatively often, or not even necessarily hitting cooldown, but recovering enough charges during the flask's effect to get them back and sustain it. And that'll be another 100-ish crit chance, depending on, flask effect from belt and all that jazz, which I think will go a long way towards making the build feel good. I again wonder if it's more of a clearing issue as well, because again, when you're clearing, you ideally want to fire once, cast and crit triggers, and everything dies, as you're seeing on screen right now for the most part. So that means you won't be able to get off a good brittle, because you should be able to hit a very high brittle rating fairly easily. Which, the brittle cap is 6%. Bow has about 8.5% crit chance right now. So that'd be close to double of what I currently have, especially when you consider Assassin's Mark as well. So, yeah, looking forward to getting that up and going. But once, cast and crit procs, everything dies, It's pretty smooth, and here on single target especially. It is a tier 1 map, granted, but I think once I get some Desecrate levels, high maps will go pretty much just as smoothly. And that reminds me, I am currently using an Unawakened Fire Pen. I need to switch that out before I forget. Not really relevant to the strength of the build or the video, but just kind of talking to myself as I piece these things together. Overall, the leveling experience was very smooth, I would say. Took a total of about 3 hours to get through Act 10, and then another like 20-ish minutes to get my points from the Wildwood. So obviously went with the Charm one, the Primalist Ranger Lady, and unlocked my first Charm socket. And in that went a crit chance and blind chance, or not crit chance, sorry. Can't speak today. A power charge on crit charm with chance to blind on hit. So obviously very good for the build, offensively and defensively. And yeah, overall the setup is very similar to Jungdrone's, just with worse gear because solo self-found and I just made the character, so haven't really gotten to the point of optimizing it. One thing I will say is I'm using a Discipline energy shield on hit Watcher's Eye. Obviously don't have nearly as good of a selection of Watcher's Eyes as in Trade League. I think I only have 2 and this was one of them. So the mod is gain 20 to 30 ES on hit with anything while you're affected by Discipline. If you think 10% instant leech is good, that mod is absolutely bonkers. It rolls from 20 to 30. I got a minimum roll. Basically doesn't matter. This build hits so frequently, you'll pretty much always be at full energy shield. And if you aren't, for some reason, well then you have Trickster's leech, some of which will be instant. And then you have Ghost Shrouds. You know, if you get hit, you'll gain some ES back. And if you also have the instant leech happening at the same time, so there's a bunch. The build has good sustain, is what I'm driving at. Possibly the best out of any build I've played at this rate, because the Discipline mod is that good. I'm considering even trying to craft a Shaper Ring, which has life gain on hit for spell hits. I don't know if that applies to the Corpse Explosion portion of the skills. They aren't modified by spell damage. I don't know if they still count as spell hits for the sake of mechanics like that or block. But I guess I may end up finding out. It's pretty easy to craft those rings, so I may try that out at some point. And that'll help against specifically Chaos. I may end up changing my pathing a little bit to get the 30% of chaos damage to not bypass ES, but haven't really pieced that together yet. So that was some of the build footage just to show what it plays like. I know I didn't showcase Volatile Dead of Seething, instead doing Detonate out of Chain Reaction. Again, it's more clear speed oriented, bigger radius, more of a sequential effect going on, which is nice for things that summon things on death. Quality effect is further radius increase. So yeah, in general, I think if you don't want to go cast on crit, there is probably potential for a non-cast on crit build. I think it'll be worse because it's just going to be a matter of how fast can you cast certain skills. And maybe there's some kind of setup you can get in which you can be triggering both corpse spawning and detonations at the same time very fast, but I think cast and crit is probably just the way to go. But as I progress the character, I may end up trying a few different setups and seeing how those feel as well for self-cast, because if this build doesn't get significantly nerfed, I may end up wanting to play it in the future as well. So again, gearing-wise, this will all be in the POB. I won't configure anything really because I'm only level 72, and things are definitely not set in stone right now enough to start looking at damage numbers and all that, but like I said, I'm basically using an extremely similar setup. Cast and Crit Shaper Bow, Tanu Ahi, Anathema, Leadership's Price. Gotta balance your 2 highest attributes, which is something to build around for sure, but hasn't been particularly difficult. Anathema does have an intelligence roll, so you kind of have to account for that. I'm doing so by using this jewel here, which I was looking at just because I needed a little extra dexterity. And then I was like, oh, this has 2 dexterity rolls instead of 1. But anywhere that you add both dexterity and intelligence in the same amount is going to be fine for this type of build. Or your 2 highest attributes, I should say. Yep. I literally don't have a diamond flask. I guess I just never picked one up over the course of my last two characters. So I'm on the hunt for one of those and kind of using a redundant silver flask here that doesn't really do anything for me. Since I have Tanuahi and I'm, even without Tunnel Leech, getting this regularly, fairly regularly, I should say. My quiver still sucks. It doesn't have the Frenzy Charge mod. I also don't have the Unveiled mod for triggering socketed spells in your helmet when you focus, and that would be good. Definitely want to get that before I start farming Guardians and such, because I am not going to want to be manually casting 4 curses on destructive play maps. Yeah, that's about it for this character. Can show off my charms again. I still need to find some jewels for this. Picking up jewel sockets pretty early, but oh well, I guess. Yep, this one's just, again, power charge on crit, chance to blind. I'm a little low on spell suppression. I do have the lucky mastery here. The highest spell suppression charm I have is only 9%. And actually, now that I'm looking at this, it's 78 instead of 80 because I have Revenge of the Hunted and I'm on full life. So I'm a decent ways from getting capped on spell suppression, and I've got a couple other things to look at as well. So I think I'm going to try to smooth out the crit, like I said, hopefully find a diamond flask while I'm playing this or another character, get a better quiver, get a better helmet, get the appropriate crafts on those, and move on from there. If you're wondering what my other characters are so far this league, I league started with an LA Deadeye, and that's there as my, need to clear fast type of character if I want to farm some Legion or something, which I will need to at some point. And I also have a Summon Raging Spirit Necromancer at level 95, and that is approaching Uber readiness. I tried Uber Maven, didn't go super well, but it was definitely doable. I decided not to pursue that though. Like, it was very strong, especially with the new Spectres, but I wanted to try some of the new gems, and I think this character will be a pretty stellar bosser based on what I've seen around online, so wanted to give it a shot and bring you guys along on the journey. So if you're looking forward to the series, definitely let me know, and if you have any suggestions, I'm happy to hear them. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.